Let's talk a little Eagles because this weekend it was just incredible, and I can't believe it happened. Still, right now, as we sit here and go, Adrian's going to call right now. And the fact is, 1 week before the Eagles season starts, they traded their starting quarterback. I mean, we could sit here and say we knew that Sam Bradford wasn't the answer, Carson Wentz was the guy, Chase Daniel, whatever you want to sit there and say. Bottom line is, 1 week before the NFL season kicks off, the Eagles traded their starting quarterback. And that type of shit just don't happen. I mean, you never see that happen. I know that Carson Palmer was a trade that was mentioned by Howie Roseman just a minute ago on an interview he did today, and that's fine. But okay, give me another spot where a starting quarterback was traded, and especially how about the timing? 1 week before the season, just incredible. And to talk a little bit about that, and plus the other deals that went down today, Eagles made a move trading Eric Rowe to the Patriots, and who knows what's coming after that. It seems like Howie Roseman is not done wheeling and dealing before this season opener, September 11th versus the Browns. We bring in the man, the myth, the legend, our Eagles beat reporter for PhillyAnswer.com, Mr. Adrian Fedkiw. Adrian, how we doing, my friend?
I'm doing amazing. What a great weekend. We traded Sam Bradford. We got a first-round pick. Things couldn't be any better.
You hear it right in his voice. He's excited. Well, I mean, look, Adrian, I was shocked when the deal went down. I've heard some naysayers. I think that there's a sports talk radio guy that's on right now that wasn't too enamored with the thrill or with the deal, and there was a sports talk radio guy that does a morning show who I really don't put too much stock into what comes out of his mouth because he's a flip-flopper and he just wants to, rile up the fan base. But there are some people out there that were disappointed because they felt like the Eagles could win the division with Sam Bradford. I think that's a realistic take, but I think that's a short-sighted take as well. Let me just ask you, open-ended, you know where I stand. Did the Eagles get this deal right?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? It was a no-brainer. You had to pull the trigger. In terms of balancing today and the future, it was the right move. And like Howie Roseman said, this is about winning a championship. And you look at the compensation that the Eagles received, a first and a fourth, and you look back at that Carson Wentz trade, you're almost getting those picks back. Now, there's a difference between the Eagles and the Vikings, because there's going to be like a 10-pick disparity in the first round, because obviously the Vikings are a lot better than us, so that's almost the equivalent of having a second-round pick. But, I mean, the first and the fourth for Bradford, are you kidding me? At the end of the year, all right, let's say Bradford kills it this year. The best you could probably receive is what? A second-round pick? Mm-hmm. And plus the $17 million cap hit for next season. Now you can re-sign Benny Logan. You can go out and get a wide receiver. You can go out and get a quarterback. This, oh my God, so many possibilities coming from this. I don't know how you can hate it.
No, you can't hate the deal. But what you can say is that throughout the course of this preseason, you've been impressed with Sam Bradford. What you can say is the final 8 games of the season, what you want to sit there and say, look at the numbers. Sam Bradford played pretty good football. And you can say it's 1 week before the season. Basically, this season's a wash at this point in time. There was some bit of excitement for this team to actually win some football games. Vegas still had them listed at 6.5 with Sam Bradford as the quarterback, so I wasn't getting too carried away. I still think the receivers are going to struggle. But there at least is that argument to be had that if Sam Bradford was the starting quarterback, you can actually talk about winning football games and who knows, maybe possibly winning the division. With Carson Wentz, he's going to struggle. He's going to make rookie mistakes, and that's all there is to it. Better off this year, I think in the long run, yeah, Carson Wentz is your starting quarterback, sure, but to win football games this year, and that's where people are saying, that's why I think you'll hear some naysayers about the move, and of course, they just got to stir it up, Adrian, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I get that point of view. I do. But if you look at it at the same time, we've seen rookie quarterbacks over the years be able to win in their first year. Russell Wilson, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco. And if you see the similarities between the Eagles and those teams, all those teams had great defenses that have helped those rookie quarterbacks out. And you look at this Jim Schwartz defense, the way it's looking right now, that defensive line is getting after the quarterback. And the potential of this defense, it can be top 15, maybe even top 10. That can help the Eagles possibly get to, say, 7-8 wins, which, hell, in this division, that might be good enough.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. All right, take me down this Eric Rowe deal. What the hell happened? You know, I thought Eric Rowe, he's a second-round pick last year. Chip Kelly's guy, obviously, but he showed you a little something last year. This year, I think a lot of people were talking about him at the beginning of training camp. Not even training camp. Let's go back into, March or April before the draft. A lot of people were circling Eric Rowe as a guy that could possibly be a starter, a guy that will help you out in the secondary. And now all of a sudden, he's shipped out to the Patriots for a fourth-round pick and an offensive lineman who might not be here in the long run. What the hell happened with Eric Rowe?
Yeah, I mean, people are saying he might not be a scheme fit. I'm not too keen on this deal because of who the Eagles have in the secondary, guys that you can kind of develop for the future. This guy had some physical tools, and if you remember last year, he struggled in the beginning. In the preseason, he was terrible. And then as the season went along, he really stepped up his game during the second half of the year. So this is a move I got to question because now you look at who the young cornerbacks are. You got a seventh-round pick, Jalen Mills, lit it up in training camp, lit it up during the spring. Didn't do so hot in the preseason. And you got an undrafted rookie in C.J. Smith, who was on the practice squad a day ago. So questioning this move just a little bit, especially with how the NFL is changing, trying out all those wide receivers. So you got to have quarterback depth, and Eagles really don't have that right now.
Talk to me about the secondary. Who's our starting quarterbacks or cornerbacks at this point in time? Who will be coming in at the nickel?
Yeah, you're looking at Nolan Carroll and Leotos McKelvin, and even going back to Rowe again, looking at the future. Carroll's here for a one-year deal. Leotos McKelvin, 2-year deal. These guys are 29 and 31 years old, respectively. So, again, I don't know, just not keen on it. Obviously, you got Ron Brooks playing the nickel, but, man, lacking some depth. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, and that's one of the things. I just thought Eric Rowe showed you a little bit, and I just don't like giving up on second-round picks. Now, obviously, we just landed one, Green Beckham from the Tennessee Titans, who were one and done after 1 year and a second-round pick. They said, all right, we're out on this one, but I felt like Eric Rowe showed you a little bit, and those guys are tough to come by as far as the secondary is concerned. What else? Is there anything else that's going to be happening right now from now until September 11th, Adrian, or is Howie Roseman done? We got a roster completed.
Well, the way he's been going, you never know. I mean, it seems like everything's kind of set. Obviously, Josh Klein, something might happen with him, but man, what a crazy offseason. All these moves, all these trades, and here's what I'll say about Roseman. He's done a great job with all this maneuvering. He knows how to work the cap. He knows how to make some trades. But where he's going to make his money over the next couple of years, and where he needs to improve, is his drafting ability. Isn't the best talent evaluator. Now, they've been able to hire some guys from the Ravens, Joe Douglas now leading that scouting department. So hopefully that's going to help out in the long run in getting some good picks coming in because, I mean, obviously this isn't something Roseman's known for.
Yeah, well, one pick that they circled this year and they were able to go out and get, and one pick that we should go ahead and say, we expect this guy to be worth what we gave up and all the hype and everything. It's Carson Wentz, second overall pick. And It's funny how we could sit there and we could talk about the first-round bust of Marcus Smith and Nelson Aguilar and Danny Watkins. We don't have to go too far. All we got to do is look at the Eagles' recent first-round picks and just laugh about it. But this point in time with Carson Wentz, and he showed you a little bit in that one quarter of play in that first preseason game. And I would imagine, you look at the writers, their takes when they're down at the practice. I know we have fun with them and bust their stones, like stop reporting the fact that he threw an interception or whatnot. But, there wasn't anybody that said Carson Wentz looks like he doesn't belong. Wow, he's far off. I don't know how good he's going to be. We didn't see any of that from the writers. And I would imagine that the coaches feel or felt the same way. So therefore, when this opportunity stepped up and presented itself and Howie Roseman made that deal with the Vikings, nobody inside that locker room or involved the organization thought for a second that Carson Wentz wasn't the right guy for the job at this point in time. Second overall pick, it's about time that the Eagles get one right here with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and you don't make that Sam Bradford deal if you don't think that Wentz can come in here and come in right away and win. So obviously, we saw the physical tools in that game. The athletic ability, the strength, the size, that ability to make the tough throws. And, he's got the potential. Obviously, we're going to see some growing pains this year. So we shall see, man. I mean, even the mental aspect that he had, that was something that Howie Roseman was talking about during his appearance on the WIP morning show this morning. So, I'm interested to see. Definitely going to be growing pains, but the future is definitely bright in Philadelphia.
Before we talk a little fantasy, you've been doing a great job for PhillyUpster.com covering the NFL with the NFL previews. Now, it's funny, as I sit here and I look back at some of the standings from last year, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Minnesota did win that division. So for the people that are like, I got Minnesota winning the division this year. Well, bro, they won it last year. You know, I mean, like, you're not really going out on a limb. What are some of the things that you're taking away from doing all these previews for all of these teams in the NFL? You know, if you could just give me one thing that's really stood out to you the most, or maybe one team that you're like, all right, that team might actually go on a run, maybe a weakness of schedule, something along those lines. What have you learned from doing all the NFL previews this year?
Well, Minnesota is a team that has an easy schedule. They play the NFC East. They play the AFC South. So that is a team that I still have winning like 11 to 12 games. So, and you look at that defense, loaded with talent. Everson Griffin, Sharif Floyd, Linval Joseph on the defensive line. They got Anthony Barr. That secondary is set. Got Harrison Smith as a safety, Xavier Rhodes as a cornerback. So even though, people are laughing that Sam Bradford, he's going to Minnesota, thanks Minnesota, they're still going to be a really good team this year. Adrian Peterson's still producing. So that team is still going to be very formidable. And two teams in the AFC that I really like, that a lot of people actually like, Oakland and Jacksonville. So these are two teams up on the rise as well.
I love Jacksonville. I do. I know it's the cliche. I know it's like, everybody loves Jacksonville. They went 5-11 last year. So it's like not all of a sudden they're going to go ahead and go from 5 to 10 wins, and you can't sit there and say, yeah, that's expected, because that's not. Is it possible? Sure. But I really don't feel like that's a lock. I know people are saying that Jacksonville is that team that everyone's circling, but again, they won 5 games last year. I like Bortles. I like what they have on the outside. I love the defense, and I'm a Gus Bradley guy. I like his enthusiasm. I like his energy, and I just feel like it would be good for the league, and I mean this when I say this. Not so much don't get caught up in Jacksonville, but new blood as a whole, all right? Just a new team, some new blood in the playoffs, some new teams out there that are a threat. Maybe the Tennessee Titans turn it around with Marcus Mariota, or, like you said, Oakland. I like Oakland with Carr. I think he's a good quarterback. Let's see what he can do. He's got some weapons, good defense as well. So, I just want to see some new blood. So I do. I like Jacksonville a lot this year.
Yeah, here's the thing about Jacksonville. All these moves they made during the offseason, building that defense. You got Malik Jackson through free agency. You look at the draft, you got Jalen Ramsey and Myles Jack. Those are two studs. And even they're getting Fowler back, the third overall pick from last year. So that defense, maybe not going to be formidable this year, but as the years go on, there's potential there. And obviously the offense, you got that trio of Allen Hurns, Allen Robinson, Blake Bortles. That's studly.
All right, well, we got some cool things happening at PhillyUpster.com, including our Fantasy Triple Threat League, which is something very cool. I believe it's one quarterback, one receiver, one running back, and you can't pick the same quarterback every week. So that's the little difference. Or once you use them, you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
So check it out. Right now, we're capping at 75 people. I think we got like 50 or 60. Now, that was a couple hours ago, so hopefully we're not filled up just yet. But if you get over to PhillyUpster.com, you'll see that. Our fantasy guy, Tony, does a great job. Looking forward to getting him involved. All three of us on the podcast at one time, doing some videos as well, Adrian, throughout the course of this football season. It is an exciting time right now for everybody involved at the site, including our readers. But let's talk a little fantasy, because last night we had our draft, and I know nobody cares about your team. But how about this? For the people that are going to laugh at me, I had the number 6 overall pick, all right? And I passed up Gronk, and I passed up Zeke, and I went with my man, DeAndre Hopkins, from the Houston Texans, who had 100-plus catches last year. I loved him. I think he's going to have 100-plus catches again this year. Good call, bad call, or not too crazy. We'll see.
Well, considering I was drafting behind you and I wanted DeAndre Hopkins, I'd say it was a good call.
You got me a couple times, dude. You got me a couple times. I'm not going to lie to you. There were a couple players. I even think the kicker. Did you get Graham Gano at the end? I forget. But
no, that wasn't me. I got the Pittsburgh kicker, Chris Boswell.
Yeah. Now, you got me a couple times before me going before me on the snake.
You know what's cool about this league? We have linebackers.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that before.
No,
So yeah, that was cool.
I was excited too to see that. I thought that was pretty cool because you can get some linebackers out there to get you 100+ tackles, and it's fun predicting that. And it's a lot like wide receivers. That's who I look at. I wanted to get guys who are going to catch the ball 100+ times, and that's the fun part of trying to predict exactly that, or predict the top 5 offenses in the league and scoring and stuff like that. So I love fantasy. We all love fantasy, and we're looking forward to it this year. Like I said, Tony's doing a great job for us, and all of us together. It's gonna be a fun time. Adrian, Eagles, Browns, September 11th this weekend. It goes down at the Link. I believe the Eagles are a favorite. Did that change? I didn't look that up.
What is it? I can look it up right now.
I thought it was 5. I thought it was 5 or 6. And I apologize. Oh, it was 7.5. Now it's down to 4. Eagles are a 4-point favorite at home. What's your thoughts about this game?
My thoughts haven't changed from a few months ago. I think this is a game that we might have just a little bit of trouble with. In the beginning, we might get off to a slow start in the first half, but I think we'll kind of turn it on in the second half, third, fourth quarter, and we win this game by like a touchdown. So I'll go with like 20-13 Eagles victory. Carson Wentz throws a touchdown.
How about that? And we go crazy.
Yeah.
And we go crazy. Good stuff as always, Mr. Fedkiw. Doing a great job. Please make sure you follow Adrian on Twitter at Adrian Fedkiw. That's Fedkiw, right? There's no underscore in there.
Sir.
All right, nice and easy. Fedkiw. Doing a great job at PhillyHamster.com. We appreciate all the support out there. Adrian, good stuff as always, man. I will talk to you in a minute, man. Good stuff.
Thanks, man. Glad to have you. Glad to have me on.
Awesome. Good stuff as always.